You will need size 10 seed beads, green, gold, red, and clear is optional, and I'll show you at the end why. You will also need thread of your choice. I'm just using regular sewing thread, and you will also need a beading needle. Any needle will do as long as it's thin enough to fit through your beads. So in a previous video I showed you how to make this large 3-inch beaded poinsettia ornament. You can see the poinsettias on both sides. Today I'm going to show you how to make it on a smaller ornament. This one's 1.5 inches. So you'll need to watch the video that I made previously on how to make this poinsettia piece. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to make 2 poinsettia pieces up till the second round of red, and you're going to want 2 identically the same, and leave your string attached. Now you're going to leave one of them plain like this, and the other one you're going to go on to do the green row. But in the original video I tell you to put on 15 green beads. This time for this one, for the mini ornament, I want you to put 19 green beads around one of your poinsettias and tie it off, and then hide your tail. Okay, set it aside. Now we're going to come back to this one, our second one that we haven't added a green one yet. Now we're going to do the green row on this, but as we go we're going to attach it to this. On your red poinsettia you should be coming out of the middle of your point. So what we're going to do is we're going to add on 8 green beads and just let it fall down to the bottom. Now what you're going to do, so you're going to take your other piece with the green, and what you want to do is pick any point, it doesn't matter, just pick any one to start, and you're going to find the middle point, which is your 10th bead, because remember this row we used 19 green beads, so you want, okay, and then just pull it down. Now remember to work in the direction of your thread, okay? So now what you're going to do is, to finish this point you need another 8 green beads. So I have another 8 green beads. I'm just going to let them fall down, and that's going to create a V. It might actually be easier if you flip it so the one with the green is on the bottom and your smaller red one's on the top. But remember, now you got to stay with the direction of the thread. And what I mean by that is, see how my thread is coming out now to the right? I'm going to want to work towards the right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my next point, and I'm going to find the middle one, and we did 13 red beads in this row, so we're going to find number 7. Okay, and then just go through there. And if you look, that makes 1 green point. If you lay it down so that the points match up, the holes are all aligned, see how we just made this group of 8 and then this group of 8? They make 1 point, and if you line them up you can kind of see better what you're doing. So my thread was getting a little short, so all I did was tie my new one to my old one. Tie it any way you want, just make sure it's nice and secure and it doesn't go anywhere. But I've left my 2 tails really short. They're about 1 inch, 1.5 inches long, and I'm going to work those into my work. So I have my next set of 8 green beads, and I'm just going to let them fall. And see how they went over my knot, and now my tails, they're hidden in that section of green beads. But if you lift this up and put your fingers between, I'm just going to show you what we're doing. Okay, so we did that section of 8, came through the middle, did a section of 8, came through the middle, so we're going to just repeat that. So now I have my new section of 8. I'm going to go, we've already done this point, I'm going to go to this point now. And we want the middle one of the 19, which is going to be number 10. So I'm just going to put that down and count. Okay, so there's number 10. So I'm going to put my thread through, and I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to keep this as snug as I can as I go. So I have my next set of 8 green beads. I'm going to bring them down, and there they are. Now we're going to bring those to the next red point of this top red piece. And remember, this row was 13, so we're going to go through number 7. And basically what we're doing is we're sewing the points together, okay? But I'm just realigning my flower so that I can see that it's matching up. If it's not matching up and for some reason it looks something like this, or like it's not laying right, then you need to go back and see where you've gone wrong, okay? So we're just going to continue picking up groups of 8 green beads, and I'm going to go to this next middle point in the middle, pick up 8 more green beads, and then I'm going to go through this one right here, this next red point. Then I'm going to go to this green point, this red point, and then I'm going to go this one. Okay, so I've started here and I've gotten all the way around to here. Okay, so if I lift up my top layer, it kind of makes a pocket. So now what we want to do is we want to take the top off your ornament, and you're going to slip it inside. So we're going to take our ornament, we're going to lift the top layer, and you're going to slip the ornament inside. Doesn't matter which hole, but you do want to have the green encircling the opening. Okay? You don't want it to be half green, half red, because then your ornament's going to be lopsided. If you have it so that the green is even on either side, your flower will sit perfectly in the middle. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to pull and retighten your work. So now it's a lot easier to see what you're doing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just keep continuing doing what we were doing. So now I'm going to do another section of 8 green, and I'm going to grab the middle of this point, and then I'm going to grab 8 more green beads and grab this middle point, and then so on and so forth until I get. So before I attach my last section of green beads, so let me just let go of my thread a little. If you find that your work looks like this, there's little tiny gaps, the odd, like maybe 1 or 2 little gaps, that's okay. Just go back and add an extra bead here and an extra bead here. It's not going to make a noticeable difference, and it's not worth taking your work apart. Just add an extra bead here or there as you need it to make it fit. If it is too big and it's really loose, like baggy, like hanging off your ornament because it's too big for some reason, you might want to decrease the count. So instead of doing 8, you might want to do 6. Adjust it to work for your ornament, because they are blown glass. Even though they say they're the same size, no two are identical. Some might be slightly smaller, some might be a fraction bigger. It's just how they're made. Make sure your work is nice and snug and there's no gaps. So now what I'm going to do is now that my thread is as tight as I can get it, I'm going to pinch it with my thumb up against my ornament, and I have my green beads. I'm going to go through that middle red bead. Oops. Twisted. Just untwist any twists. There we go. Just pull it nice and snug. Now if I let go of this thread, it is clearly going to unravel. So what I want to do is I'm just going to lay it across here just to get it out of my way and to hold on to it against my ornament. So we just went through this red bead. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the side through all these red beads, and if I can in one go, I'll come out the middle bead of this point. There we go. See how I'm coming out? And just pull. Okay. Basically what I'm doing is I'm following my work. Let's go back up. Don't stab yourself with the needle. And the more you go up into your work, the longer the tail is, and it just, for some reason, it creates like friction, and the tail just, it eventually stops pulling and it won't come undone. As you can see, it's staying snug. So when I get to a point where it's not pulling anymore, and I can let go comfortably, my thread is coming out on this side of the bead. I'm going to go under, just under the work against the ornament. I'm going to pull my thread through to make a loop. Now I'm going to take my needle and go through that loop to make a knot. Now as it gets close to my work, I want it to stay in the middle of these 3 beads. I don't want it to go on this side. I want it to stay on this side between these 3 beads. This red, the middle red, the one next to it, and this one green bead. And just pull tight. It should go into that little hole and just disappear. Do that a couple times. If it does this, see how my thread is now on this side, but I want it to be on this side. If I tie my knot, it's gonna go around the middle bead and you'll see the thread. That's why you don't want it to cross over. If that's the case, just maneuver it. Whoops. See, you're gonna see it. That's not gonna be nice. Just somehow just pull it and maneuver it. Just maybe poke your needle under it to get it back over. So now once you've had a couple knots tied, all you're going to do is take your needle and thread it back through your work and just follow your work. And you're just going to thread it back through. Doesn't matter which direction you go. And what you're doing is you're just going to hide your tail. So I'm just going to follow mine in just a zigzag pattern. I'm just going to go up a couple times and down a couple times. So now we'll go back up. And then when you're happy that you've left a tail long enough, just take your tail and cut it. Take your top, put that back on, and there you are. A miniature beaded poinsettia ornament. Now, if you only wanted the poinsettia on one side and you wanted the rest to be, say, clear and not have a poinsettia and only have it on one side, what you could do is when you make your first poinsettia, you could just make it all with just clear beads, and then you would have the poinsettia, and then from here would be clear. That's just an option. Another option would be to alternate silver and blue, silver and blue. This blue would be the same as this green row.